I know you thought you knew everything about Peter Obi, but what I'm about to show you will shock you. What if I told you Peter Obi is... Oh no, I forgot something. Please stay with me. I'll be right back. Welcome to Church Feast. Here we strive to restore believers and the church to true Christianity as revealed in Scripture and as practiced by the early church. We also help to build a better and a God-fearing society by fulfilling the Great Commission in Matthew 28:19-20, which is not only about saving souls from hell, but transforming their society into God-fearing nations. Alongside that, we expose counterfeit Christianity and help Christians to recognize it so they can avoid it. If this is where your passion lies, please consider subscribing to our channel, hit the notification bell so you can always get notified each time we upload our video. Also like this video so YouTube can help recommend it to others. That said, let's jump right into this video. In this video, I want to talk to you about God's prescription for electing a societal leader and how that Obi met every one of them. After this video, you won't be depending on what a prophet said about who should be the president of Nigeria come 2023. You will rather be sure Obi is God's choice for Nigeria. Let's now see this prescription in Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 14-20. I am going to be reading from the NIV version. Please follow me carefully. Here it says, it said, when you enter the land the Lord your God is giving you, and have taken possession of it and settled in it, and you say, let us set a king over us like other nations around us. Verse 15. He said, be sure to appoint over you the king the Lord your God chooses. The first thing I want you to note is that God is the one who chooses king. So when we vote, we first of all look for the ones that God have chosen. He just told us that if we want to appoint kings, we look for the one that God has chosen. And what I'm about to show you here is how to know the one that God has chosen. And I want you to note this. You don't have to wait for a prophet to tell you the one that God has chosen. You don't have to depend on anybody to do that. You don't have to depend on a dream. There are specific prescriptions that God himself has shown, which will reveal who should be the president and who should not be the president. And that's the one you need to depend on. Not some prophet telling you, I have some revelation, God told me about this, and another prophet saying another thing, another magician saying whatever thing, another sorcerer saying another thing. No, we have to depend. What are the unfailing prescriptions that God has unveiled in his word that we need to depend on to elect a leader? And that is what I'm about to show you in this video. He said, be sure to appoint over you the king the Lord your God chooses. He must be from among your own brothers. What he meant by that is that he should be one of your nation. He should be a citizen of that nation. And I'm going to tell you what the meaning of that. He said, do not place a foreigner over you. So what he forbid here is not somebody from another religion, but what he forbid here is that he should not be a foreigner over you, and one who is not a brother Israelite. Did you notice that? He said he should not be one that is not a brother Israelite. So first prescription number one is that he must be a Nigerian, or must be from your country, whichever country you are watching me from. That God said you shouldn't pick a foreigner to rule over the citizens. So we know Obi is not a foreigner. So he met that prescription number one. And the second prescription that God is saying is that moreover, he must not acquire great number of horses for himself. Did you notice that? Horses were what they were using for transportation in those days. So in our time, we are no longer using horses. In our time, we are using vehicles. We are using cars. We are using airplane. Everywhere for transportation. So God is saying that the king we want to elect must not be the one that acquire great number of horses. And Obi that met this prescription. Do you remember when he was the governor of Anambra State, that the number of convoy given to him was about 30 convoy that should go with him from place to place? But Obi, in resuming office, told himself and told his team that they are going to reduce it in order to be able to to cut down the cost of governance, in order for him to be able to get some monies to manage the state. Because when he resumed office, Anambra State was in a great mess. School zero, I think, was number 28 or in the rating. Anambra State was actually in the list of number 28 out of 36 states that we have. And when he resumed office, they became the first. That is the second prescription that God himself said the man must meet. We also learned how that he forbid his wife from owning the first lady office. This is what other governors' wives are enjoying, but in order for him to save more money and to cut down cost, he refused and pleaded with his wife so that they can shut down the first lady office. In fact, you know what will follow it if that office was secured? More vehicles, because the wife of the governor will have to have a convoy that will go with her, and other much expenses will also be put into those places. But Obi refused to carry all of these things along. So God said, he said, must not acquire great numbers of horses for himself or make the people to return to Egypt. The second prescription is that he must not be the one that makes the people to backslide. They don't fall back to the world. And I know Obi has met that. When he was a president, we never hear of him coming up with all kinds of law that actually forbid people from worshiping God or from taking them back or making them to backslide. He never did that. So when we read that, he said, he must or make the people to return to Egypt or get more of them. For the Lord has told you, you are not to go back that way again. Verse number 17, he must not take many wives. Oh, what do you think about that? Obi met again this qualification. One wife. Not the one with many wives, who will now tell us to go and marry many wives and add up to her, because the oil flows from the head to the bottom. So if our president will be marrying 2, 3, 4, then citizens will be marrying what? 10 and 20. You can now name it, because we have been freed. So you see, so God said he must not marry many wives. Has your pastor ever told you this? Please, who do you want to vote come 2023? Obi met God's prescription. I don't even think Obi realized these were the prescriptions that God himself has made. But as a Christian, he has lived within the boundary of God's word, and that has been able to contain him in moving away from some excesses. So I want us to look at another thing. He said he must not marry many wives, or his heart will be led astray. He must not accumulate large number of silver and gold. Oh my God. What do you think about this? Obi talked about the first 6 months he resumed office as Anambra State governor. He said a man came to him and told him of a very huge land that they wanted to give out. And they said because he's the governor, he should be given that land. Meanwhile, a lady was sitting in that office on that very day. The government were still owing her pension, and her gratuity had yet to be paid. What did Obi do? When he learned that land was about to be given to him, he told the man, he said, here is a woman who needs the land. Obi went into, even till today, I watched one of his videos where he said, go and verify in Anambra State. If there is any land, they said it is my own, that I acquire from public funds. He said, I will resign from this contest. Think about it. I want you to know that you will be doing right when you vote Obi. He said he must not acquire or accumulate large amount of silver and gold. Today, many people boast of their wealth. Many people have carried their money overseas, used them to buy houses in America, in UK, in other choice countries of the world. But here is Obi. He will use public fund for public good, not to enrich himself. That is another qualification. How many qualifications so far have we talked about? We talked about the fact that yes, he must be a Nigerian. 2, he must not acquire many vehicles. 3, he must not be married to many wives. And 4, he must not lead God's people astray. He must not make them to backslide. And the 5th one we talked about, we also said that he must not accumulate large amount of silver and gold. This is Obi's qualification. He met this prescription that is written in the Bible. Oh my God. I wish your pastor can share this with you. I wish many men of God will come out and begin to reveal this truth and stop telling people about their personal belief that they have. So this one will come up and say, God told me this person will win. This one will come out and say, God told me. We don't need those prophecies. I think one of them came out the other day and said that because when one of the presidential aspirants came to meet him, he said he bought him perfume instead of buying something more expensive. He said that man will no longer win. These are not the kind of prophet we want to listen to. We want to listen to the one who tells us about God's will for these people. And we know God's will from his word, not because this person favored him. He also said in that video that the man came to ask who will be the president of Nigeria. And then he told the man, he said, you want me to tell you who will be the president, or you want me to tell you you will be the president? So for him, he is the president maker. So whoever pays the huge amount of money, he makes the president. But listen, these are not the things you should be listening to. Listen to what God said. If Obi meet this condition, I tell you, hell cannot stop it. No amount of evil in this world that can stop it. Obi met the condition, and indeed, with our prayer, with our vote, Obi will resume office come 2023. Verse 18. When he take the throne of his kingdom, he is to write for himself on a scroll a copy of this law, taken from that of the priests who are Levites. What is he talking about? He must have his own personal Bible. And I know you're going to tell me, oh, almost everybody have a Bible. The ones from the other religion also have their own Quran, or that's what you're going to be telling me. But that's not what God is saying here. Because it's not just having a Bible that you keep in a shelf and you never read. That's not the one he's talking about. Look at what he said. In verse 19, he told you, he said, it is to be with him. That copy of the Bible must be with him. He said, and he is to read it all the days of his life, so that he may learn to revere the Lord his God and follow carefully all the words of this law and these decrees. The reason he said he must have his own copy of the Bible is not so that he can keep it on the shelf. Look at it. Look at verse 19. Told us what he would do. He said, it is to be with him, and he is to read it all the days of his life, so that he may learn to revere the Lord, his God, and follow carefully all the words of this law and this decree. So the reason is so that he can read it. And we know whether you're reading it, because it will play out from your life. We know whether you are reading it, because it will control your life. We know whether you are reading it, because it will become your constitution. And that's exactly what we have found in Obi's life. I believe Obi met this condition, because majority of the things you saw him do, sometimes you are even asking, is Obi from this planet, or is outside this planet? Because we've often heard, how can a man be placed? I mean, you are inside the ocean, and yet you don't want to allow water to enter into your mouth. That is exactly the kind of politics that Obi played. Even though he was in the midst of money, yet he will not allow public fund to be used for personal interest. That's the kind of person he is. And I believe that there was something that was controlling him, and that is the law that he carried with himself. He did not only have the Bible, but at the same time, it controls and rules his life. Now, before we read verse 20, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can always get notified each time we upload our video, and like this video so YouTube can recommend it to others. Verse 20, and not consider himself better than his brothers, and turn from the law to the right or to the left, then he and his descendant will reign a long time over his kingdom in Israel. Did you notice what God said? He must not consider himself better than his brothers, than the citizens of Nigeria. I watched one of the videos where I think one of the journalists went to visit Obi, and Peter Obi was the one making coffee for the man to drink. He must not consider himself better than his brothers. So these are the prescriptions that God himself has given to us. Number one, he must be a Nigerian. Number two, he must not acquire a large number of vehicles for himself. And number three, he must not allow God's people to go astray. He must not cause God's people to backslide. And number four, he must not be one that is married to many wives. Number five, he must not loot public fund. And number six, he must have a copy of the law, not just to be kept in the shelf, but to study it and lead according to it. And number seven, he must not look at himself better than other citizens. These are God's prescription for a president of a country, for a governor of a state, for the local government chairman of a local government area. These are God's prescription for these leaders. And Obi met every one of these prescriptions. I want to encourage you, vote Peter Obi, and Nigeria will once again be great. Please, thank you for joining us today. Subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so you can always get notified each time we upload our video. Like this video also so YouTube can recommend it to others. Thank you for staying with us. God bless you.